What's good, guys? M.V.K here, back again with another Patreon request. Believe this comes from Blue Dragon again. I could be wrong. I can't remember. Let me make sure. I'm gonna make sure. I definitely want to make sure. Yes, Blue Guardian. This comes from Blue Guardian again, and Blue Guardian wants to know, what are some of my favorite Spider-Man story arcs? You guys know me, big time Spider-Man fan. My number one favorite hero of all time. He comes first. And I've been reading Spider-Man since I was 10 years old. And so I've been reading this character for 30 plus years now. And there's been some good story arcs. There have been some bad story arcs, some in between, and some I don't give two shits about. And there are some I just go, fuck you, that was dumb. Just gotta keep it real, even for my man, Spider-Man. So I got 6 for you. So let's kick it off, shall we? Number 1, Kraven's Last Hunt. Arguably probably one of Spider-Man's greatest story arcs. To me, Kraven is my number one favorite Spider-Man villain. And in this, Kraven basically decided to, he felt like he lost his edge. And so what did this fool do? Oh boy, let me tell you what he did. He shoots Spider-Man with a rifle. Had a tranquilizer, a strong tranquilizer. And this dude buries Spider-Man 6 feet deep, brethren. And puts on the classic black costume and goes around and brutally starts killing people. And that was his way of feeling like he defeated, he got the edge. Not only did that, he let Vermin, the villain Vermin loose. Things like that. It was tragic. It was great. Peter was able to dig himself out of the grave, of course. And when he confronted Kraven gives this big soliloquy about this and that. And then even more importantly, afterwards, Kraven takes the rifle and boom! Yeah, it was crazy. But it was a good story arc. I enjoyed it very much. It's arguably one of Spider-Man's best story arcs by critics and comic readers like myself. Number 2, Back to Black. Yeah, Spider-Man puts back on the black costume, not the symbiote. After he lost the symbiote, remember, he still kept the costume. Because this is at the time of this he revealed himself, and Kingpin hired an assassin to kill Peter. The assassin found Peter and family in a hotel. The sniper, the assassin, took aim. Peter sensed it coming. He sensed it, moved, but unfortunately, the bullet hit Aunt May. And after that, Aunt May was in critical condition, and Peter flipped out. Once he found out who was responsible, oh boy, we got one of the best moments in Spider-Man history. But I gotta first talk about when the assassin was peeping through his rifle scope, and all he saw was a car coming at him. That's how Peter just threw a car at where he was. It was so funny. But Peter found out who was responsible. Wilson Fisk. See, Wilson Fisk was in jail, and somehow he was gonna just walk out of jail and go to Europe and things like that. But he wanted to give his 2 greatest arch nemesis a big F.U. Daredevil and Spider-Man. And when he found out Peter Parker was Spider-Man, yeah. Peter comes to that jail, steps up to the fat man, says to him, oh no, you're not fighting Spider-Man. You're fighting Peter Parker. And Peter goes on to give this fat bastard, okay, yes, only 2% of Wilson Fisk's body mass is fat. Okay? 300 plus pounds is muscle. But that ain't muscle ain't compared to somebody who is superhumanly strong. Peter ends up whooping that ass big time. Beats the living crap out of Wilson Fisk in front of every guard. Every inmate in there. Humbling this asshole. Pimp slaps him all up. Even then, this is still when Peter had the organic webbing. Literally said, I could kill you right here. I could web your throat up till you choke. You can't breathe. The look on Wilson Fisk's face told it all. And after that, he told Wilson Fisk, now crawl back to your cell. And if you get out, I will beat your ass again. The moment, it just proved to anybody who always had this idea that, you know, if they had a true fight, could Peter win? The fuck he could. Okay? He proved it. I don't know what everybody talks about. Beat the crap. This also just showed Peter stopped holding back. It clearly showed once again what is the ramifications if Peter does not hold back on normal people. That was the best moment, and it was a great story, but that is the moment. That is the moment. That is the money shot. Just saying. Number 3, Maximum Carnage. Look, Maximum Carnage came out in the 90s, and I was all into that. That was probably one of Spider-Man's longest story arc. That story ran through every weekly Spider-Man book that was out in those 90s. Amazing. Web of Spider-Man, Spectacular Spider-Man, and Spider-Man. Ran through all the books. Focused all on Carnage. Carnage, Sharik, Doppelganger, Carrion, all these characters. And of course, then there was Spider-Man and Venom kind of joining forces along with Cloak and Dagger, Captain America, Morbius, Iron Fist, Deathlock, I believe was in there. And did I say Black Cat? Yeah, but it was great. It was also where Dagger died and she was reborn. It was really interesting, but it was fun. It was a long story, but I enjoyed it, and it got so popular they made a goddamn game out of it. Have you beaten it? I have, but it was fun, indeed. Number 4 on the list is the death of Jean DeWolf. Jean DeWolf does not get enough credit. We always talk about how Robbie Robinson is probably one of Spider-Man's closest allies. You know, he respects Peter and as Spider-Man, which is true. But back in the day, Peter also had an ally before Yuri. There was Captain Jean DeWolf of the NYPD. She was a very close ally and friend to Spider-Man. And in this, she gets killed. She is shot dead in her sleep. And basically, it's basically a detective who done it. Who shot Jean DeWolf? Who killed her? And focused on Sin Eater. However, it wasn't the original Sin Eater. The original Sin Eater was a ex-SHIELD agent. Here, it was someone else. I'm not gonna ruin, because some people probably never read it. But at the cusp of it, it was an imposter. This is also the book. This is also where Daredevil and Spider-Man finally found each other's identity. Matt, he recognized, this is where he recognized Peter's heartbeat for the first time, and Peter Parker's Spider-Man. And at the end of that story, it was where Matt revealed himself as Daredevil to Peter. So it was really cool. And of course, that's where the trusted friendship was. It's always been there, but how they became morally trusted and bonded more. So it was good. It was fun, indeed. Peter nearly killed the imposter because he knocked him out, and he still was beating the crap out of him. Like, yeah, and it took Daredevil to kind of calm him down. So it was tough, but it was a good run. This was a very tragic story, but Peter David, I believe Peter David wrote this. Peter David did such an amazing job writing this story. You couldn't do anything but be impressed at his writing. But yes, the death of Jean DeWolf is another one of my favorite story arcs of Spider-Man. Next on the list we go to is Identity Crisis. I think people sleep on this story. It's one of my favorites. I enjoyed it. The Identity Crisis was a story, it was a 4-part story, I believe it's 4 parts, that ran through all the books, all the weekly Spider-Man books. Green Goblin and I'm forgetting who else. It was, and I think it was the Trapster. They kill some low-level criminal. I think his name was Jimmy Z. Can't remember. I think Jimmy Z. It was something like that. Jimmy Z. They kill him and they frame Spider-Man. They frame him by, having like fake web fluid all around. And Spider-Man now has to go on the run because he's a wanted man. However, Spider-Man is not gonna leave his home unprotected. So what does Spider-Man do? He goes to various friends in the Marvel Universe. Hobie Brown, the Prowler. Yeah, the original Prowler. Reed Richards. And I think that was about it. And he makes new identities. Prodigy, Dusk, Ricochet, and Hornet. And Peter goes under these different disguises to try to find out who caused who framed him. The Hornet costume, it's Hornet, yeah. The Hornet costume was created by Hobie, the Prowler. I believe Reed created the Prodigy costume. Peter created the Ricochet and Dust costume. The Dust costume was just all black, and so that's how it came about. It was fun. It was a lot of fun, and it's funny because what came out after that story arc was the Slingers, with 4 young Marvel characters that took up those identities. And then it became Peter trying to figure out, did someone steal the costumes? No, these were new people. A new Hornet, a new Ricochet, who was actually a mutant, a new Dusk, which was female, and a new Prodigy. So yeah, because of that, the Slingers were born, and Slingers were cool. It was cool. But yeah, people sleep on this story arc. I don't know why. I guess you could say it's late 90s, so it was kind of to some people, but I enjoyed it. I enjoyed it very much. It was fun. Identity Crisis. And last but not least, we're gonna go with Spider Island. Another Dan Slott story that I really enjoyed. Spider Island was fun because what it did was they brought back the fucking Jackal. I hate the Jackal. He is one of the few Spider-Man rogues characters I can't stand. He put a virus on the island of Manhattan, basically giving everybody on the island spider powers. However, with none of the responsibility like Spider-Man. So this story also showcased that whole concept of with great power comes great responsibility. How would that fly with ordinary people gaining spider powers? What would they do? Would they have some kind of moral compass, or would they not? And we saw that some of them didn't. Now, it wasn't just normal people. There were other heroes that got spider powers. Shang-Chi got them. Ayana Corazon, she got her powers back, Spider-Girl, and actually kept them after the story arc was over. But it was such a fun arc. It really was, and I love the ending where pretty much New York gave a shout out to Spider-Man. If you know, you know. In New York, many times, like, we pay homage to certain things by the Empire State Building will have lights that represent somebody. They did it for like Batman. They did that for Spider-Man. It was New York's way of saying thank you, and I really enjoyed it. This was another arc that I really enjoyed under Dan Slott, and it was fun. It was fun. It was cool. You get to see what a lot of people think, and what it would be like if you had spider powers. Would you have that moral compass of great power? And yeah, so it was really fun indeed. There you guys have it. Those are 6 of my favorite Spider-Man story arcs. Thank you, Blue Guardian, for the list. This was fun because it's Spider-Man. I love Spider-Man. Of course, I'm gonna try to knock it out of the park every time. If you've never read these story arcs, I do recommend it. Go read it. Even like the older stuff from Spider-Man, good stuff. Like I said, Peter David, always great. But thank you, Blue Guardian, and thank you to everybody who watched. If you got your favorite Spider-Man story arcs from comics, leave it in the comment section down below. I want to hear from you. As always, don't forget to give me a like. I would appreciate that. And always, thank you. And Blue Guardian, thank you for continuing your patronage. I appreciate it so much. Outside of that, guys, deuces.